Okay, so we're going to work on improving external rotation of the hip. In order to do that, we're going to need a yoga block or something that we can elevate our front foot on, the one that's involved. So I'm going to be showing this on my right hip, and we're going to be taking a side lying position. I like to have something here near my rib cage so it keeps me honest from pulling away or pushing too hard down into it. I'm going to try to get my hip roughly at about 90 degrees-ish. If you want to do some work lower, that's fine. But from this position here, I'm going to angle myself down slightly just to relax. And I want to be in this slight little elevation that gives me a slight stretch on my hip capsule. So now that I've been staying here for 2 minutes, what I'll end up doing is I'm going to be keeping this down the best I can. I'm going to create stiffness in my core. I'm going to think about the outside point of my ankle underneath and push straight down as if I'm rotating through my femur where it meets in my hip socket and stimulate those tissues. So I'm going to push down, try to get it to work pretty hard, and then afterwards I slowly back off and I'm transitioning, knees driving down, and I go for a rotational lift. And I hold that for about 10 to 15 seconds. I'm cranking on my core. It's nice and strong and sturdy. And then eventually I relax nice and easy, and I allow myself to stretch again for about 30 seconds to a minute, and I repeat that cycle again. Okay, so if this isn't challenging enough or you feel like you want to get a deeper stretch out of it, the nice thing about having a yoga block is you have options. So I can be at higher ground if I just start turning it. So again, I just have my foot a little bit higher. I'm rocking my pelvis forward towards you, and then that gives me a stretch sensation. It doesn't have to be an intense stretch sensation. It just needs to be a slight one. So if I'm really mobile in my hip, then I would be playing with something like this. And this is obviously going to be very, very hard for me. Like, my knee is already elevating off the ground right here. So this is kind of a pointless task to be asking me to do. But there's some people that, you just need higher ground to work from, where you're pushing down and rotating off. That's the recommendation, is playing with a yoga block or just starting to stack more things. You can use pillows, you can use books, you can use boxes. It doesn't matter. Your body doesn't know the difference between any of those things. It just knows that you're trying to work stimulation. So the focus here is, when I'm stretching, I want to be relaxed and not fidgety, you can stay here, that's totally fine. But once I start to get ready to work, I want to brace the position. I want to drive straight down with some pure intent and focus for 8 to 10 seconds. And then I'm going to lift for 10 to 15 seconds and really hold that contraction. I'm not going to try to use my foot to make things happen where I have to point my toe down. I'm trying to keep my ankle as neutral as I possibly can and just think about using the actual hip to rotate in order to expand my range of motion.